It's really exciting to have you here to talk about this new album you recently put out, Love Will Find a Way. For those who haven't had a chance to check it out yet, let the listeners know what they can find on the album.
Well, it's a project that took about 2 years to do. It has a lot of wonderful, talented people on there. We started it out with Chick Corea and Christian McBride, and then Robert Glasper joined the party, and it kind of spun out from there with Kamasi Washington and Christian Scott and Bilal and Casey Benjamin, even Will I Am. I pulled in to do some things, but it's a project that kind of alludes to the times that we've been experiencing over the last few years, and we chose songs that helped the community during the turbulent 60s. So we chose songs from Marvin Gaye and Curtis Mayfield and Abbey Lincoln, and then we wrote some songs in the studio as well. But yeah, there you go. There you have it. Love Will Find a Way.
Mm-hmm. And it's been so long since you released a solo project. Here in 2019, what gets you excited about creating music? What's your motivation for creating a project like this?
Well, the motivation was basically we had something to say, for one. Choosing these songs and knowing that we could reinvent them in a way that would speak to listeners today was very exciting. Working with these people, these guest stars that are on the record, was just a treat for me. And of course, just really having a chance to continue to do music at a high level at this time in my life is very exciting.
And Philip, I gotta say, when we saw that Robert Glasper was involved in the project, we love Robert, one of the most talented in the game right now. What is the requirement to work with someone like yourself? Because you've been through it all, you've made hits. Like, what's the prerequisite to work with someone like you? Do they need to bring something to the table?
Well, of course, I think that for me, it's just a treat for me to work with these guys. And so, after we get past the Mutual Admiration Society, we just let the music guide us, and that we're there. We know what we're there for, and we just delve into the music and allow it to guide us where we're gonna go.
But when you create an album like this one, like a solo project, do you feel some sense of responsibility to tie the sound back to the group sound, or do you feel totally free?
Oh, I feel totally free. And let me say to a certain extent, though, because there's a legacy and a perception of who, for all these years of what we've done and what we've laid out. That has become very sacred with our audience and people who have come to know what we do. So when I say within limits, I would say obviously, I wouldn't want to do anything that would bring some kind of reproach or bad light on the legacy that we have, and that we've built for almost 50 years now. So I do have to make sure. I mean, it's not that I'm looking to do anything like that, but if someone were to suggest something that I felt would be not in keeping with who I have been and presented ourselves to be for so many years, I would have to decline.
So, in the landscape of music right now, it seems like a lot of people try to target the youth and try to get that audience. But Tom, you saw Earth, Wind, and Fire in concert a couple of years ago, and from what you told me, it was people of all ages that loved the music.
Yeah, Philip, I remember that night. I saw Earth, Wind, and Fire perform in Miami at a Jazz in the Gardens a few years ago, and I just remember, people of all ages rocking out. Adults with their kids all enjoying it, and I thought it was a really special moment to see it close out that night. So, what do you look at, as you do these shows and you look at these audiences loving your music? How do you view all the admiration you get from people of all ages?
Well, that's one of the things that is a benefit in terms of the vision that Maurice had for our band. Our band has always wanted to render a positive service to humanity, and for that reason, we've chosen a certain lane to kind of move and breathe in, and fortunately, the different generations can come with their children and now grandchildren and enjoy Earth, Wind, and Fire's music when you hear it on different animated movies or whatever. It's still the message in the music is still very positive, and it still is able to relate to many different generations, several generations of music of listeners.
Right.
Let me ask you, Philip, as part of Earth, Wind, and Fire, and even as a solo artist, you've had success in so many different decades and eras of music, and we've seen so many great artists come and go, release some great music, and unfortunately, they don't have the longevity. If you had to look back, what do you think the key is to your longevity as an artist and having success for such a long period of time?
Well, I really believe that it was divine destiny for Earth, Wind, and Fire to come along at the time that it did. And, the Earth, Wind, and Fire's music serves it has a purpose in humanity. And I'm not over exaggerating that. It's very good to feel and to experience Earth, Wind, and Fire concerts or people jamming to Earth, Wind, and Fire music because it's a music that really has it shines light. It has it's radiant and light and hope and positivity. And that's something that I think the planet needs, and it's something that we're very proud and very thankful to be pioneers in music and champion that kind of music.